What's up guys, and welcome to my video. Now this video is all about a slim, powerful PC that is ultimately portable or doesn't take up as much space. So rather than having a massive great tower and you're not going to use all the space in it, this is about being efficient and keeping a rig small. So to start off this powerful gaming machine, we're going to start with the case. And this is the Corsair Obsidian 250D. Now this is one of the highest rated cases that Corsair have had. It's tiny, it's really small little machine, yet it packs a punch. You can fit loads of different components in there. And for the purposes of this build, it will fit the ITX motherboard nicely, allow a DVD drive if you want it, as well as allow for loads of different cooling options and loads of different options for putting hard drives in. As for the motherboard, we've gone for a new Z97 board. And the one we've gone for is by Gigabyte, and there's a nice little price on this one that I've found over here in the UK, but regardless of that, it's a really nice powerful little motherboard. It has loads of different features such as Intel networking that allows for traffic prioritization, and it's also got onboard Wi-Fi and Bluetooth if you need it. As for the processor, we've gone for the new i5-4690. Now this is a Haswell refresh and it's got a faster turbo than it did before. And we're not going to overclock this one. You'll notice there isn't a K at the end of that processor name. And that's just to save some money, and the GPU we're going to use isn't going to be CPU dependent on any of the games anyway, so overclocking it isn't going to really make any difference to your gaming frame rates at all, so there's no point spending money where we don't need to. And because of that, we're just going to use the stock CPU cooler and not get a third party one. As for the random access memory, we're going to go for 8GB of Corsair Vengeance 1866 MHz RAM. Now this is some nice looking RAM and it's clocked faster than its competitors, and it's at a similar price point anyway, so this is kind of the right option to go with. It's going to perform better than its competitors. Now unless you're on really the tightest of all budgets, 8GB is really the minimum you're looking at for a gaming rig. Games like Battlefield 4, if you have that open, then you're going to be using more than 4GB of RAM, to be honest, at all times. Now, if you haven't already noticed, this is the Unreal Engine 4 running in the background. It's their tech demo, and to run games that will look as nice as this, we're going to need a decent GPU. And the one on question here is the GTX 760. Why the 760? Well, it performs really well and it's at a great price. You're going to be looking at 1080p, high or above settings, and that's with anti-aliasing enabled. Especially on some of the older games, you're going to easily get 60 frames a second on ultra settings, and the upcoming games like Watch Dogs and stuff later this year like Batman, you're going to be looking at about high settings. Now to power this rig, 500 watts is all we're going to need. To be honest, we won't really need that anyway, but getting a 500 watt one will allow for any future upgrades if you say upgrade the graphics card or add extra hard drives. And you're looking at an extra few pounds or dollars anyway, so you may as well get the 500 watt version. Now as this isn't an ultra budget rig, we've definitely gone and put an SSD in there. It's only about £46, about $60-ish, and this is the V300 from Kingston. Now it's not the king of speed, but it is the king of pound per gigabyte, or dollar per gigabyte if you're in the US. Now 120 gig is more than you'll need for your boot drive, and it will also allow you to have quite a few of your favourite games on there as well. Games are getting bigger though, so if you're looking to put loads of games on SSD, then you maybe should look at getting a larger capacity one so you'll be able to put more of your games on there. Most of your games, however, will live on the hard drive, and the one we've gone for here is the 1TB Western Digital Blue. Now the Western Digital Blue is pretty perfect. It performs well and it has a large capacity at a low price. To be honest, from a hard drive, unless you're looking at real performance, you don't need anything more than this. But of course we're going to have to put an operating system on there, and for this we've just gone for Windows 8. Not 8.1, you can go for 8.1, we will be upgrading to 8.1 anyway, but you can save yourself about £10-15, $20 depending on where you're buying. If you get the standard 8 version, it just means you need to upgrade it. So you save yourself a bit of money and get the standard 8. Then the very last thing is you might want a DVD or Blu-ray drive. I don't ever really use a DVD drive at all. I have a Blu-ray drive, don't really use that either. So it's up to you. Do you think you need a DVD or Blu-ray drive? DVD drive costs about £10-15, $15, not very expensive, so if you think you need one, then you need one. It is worth noting that if you do opt out of having an optical drive, you'll need a USB stick and another computer to actually get Windows 8 onto a USB stick so that you can install it. It's no good having an OS if you can't actually put it on there. And that's everything. And that cost £715, prices were taken from Part Picker UK. It is worth noting that the motherboard I found slightly cheaper, so I shaved £20 off that by looking at Newegg UK. As for the US, $915, and that's not including tax of course, and that was taken from Part Picker US. If you want to see individual prices and look at the rig as a whole, then the link is in the description of all the parts at the Part Picker site. So a very small and powerful machine that will boot up pretty much instantly and play all the latest games at high settings. It will be your companion, and it will be your companion for quite a reasonable amount of cash. It is worth noting that if you're going to be doing video editing, then maybe you should consider upgrading to the i7. If this isn't quite to your budget and you need something a bit lower, then maybe consider getting rid of the SSD or downgrading the GPU. Of course, neither is ideal, but if you're on a budget, you're on a budget. And if you thought this video was useful, do hit the like button because it lets other people know that this is a video worth watching. If it's not worth watching, as always, hit the dislike button. You know, it's fair enough. If you don't like it, you don't like it. People need to know. For more PC builds or PC technology and gaming related videos, see my channel and subscribe. And until the next video, I will see you next time.